If Americans weren't sufficiently angered by White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre falsely claiming that purportedly money-drained FEMA didn't funnel billions to various leftist sanctuary city migrant projects, something the U.S. government likely will continue to do in order to, of course, give them free housing, medicine, and food.
It's just categorically false. It is not true. No, Biden did not take FEMA relief money to use on migrants.
Then the accumulating and accelerating reports of FEMA and the feds literally blocking private rescue and aid in the Hurricane Helene damage zones might push the anger to rage. Hi everyone, I'm Gardner Goldsmith for MRCTV. Well, the reports are numerous and they reveal a pattern of bureaucratic arrogance and foolishness that goes back to the FEMA-worsened mess of Louisiana after Hurricane Katrina, circa 2005. Certainly, the chaos of any storm zone can complicate both attempts to provide aid and attempts to communicate among those trying to help. But the sheer volume and intensity reported about FEMA blocks against private help and FEMA hesitation because of bureaucratic burdens, well, they're stunning. Elon Musk and others who are tied to his Starlink satellite dish communication system have been on the ground and over the ground. And here are just a few of his ex-posts about the trouble FEMA is causing. In the mid-afternoon on October 4th, Musk posted, quote, SpaceX engineers are trying to deliver Starlink terminals and supplies to devastated areas in North Carolina right now, and at FEMA is both failing to help and won't let others help. This is unconscionable. They just took this video a few hours ago where you can see the level of devastation. Roads, houses, electricity, water supply, and ground internet connections completely destroyed. At FEMA wouldn't let them land to deliver critical supplies. My blood is boiling, end quote. Others swiftly posted expressions of anger over the immediate, life-threatening FEMA folly. Their fury over Homeland Security czar Alejandro Mayorkas suddenly reversing himself to tell people FEMA didn't have sufficient funds to handle more disasters.
We do not have the funds. FEMA does not have the funds to make it through the season.
Their claims of FEMA blocks, and even a timely, pointed letter from Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz, a Republican, who on October 4th wrote to Mayorkas demanding answers from the DHS secretary and adding, quote, my office has been in contact with whistleblowers in numerous emergency management functions at the federal, state, and local levels, and they all point to the same critical mismanagement issues. FEMA has wasted taxpayer funds, misappropriated funds, and left other federal, state, and local responders without deployment orders on the ground. As reported and further confirmed by my office, hundreds, if not thousands, of service members were deployed by the Department of Defense to North Carolina and have sat idle, waiting for FEMA. We have confirmed FEMA employees deployed on the clock, awaiting orders in hotels. FEMA pre-disaster aid was withheld, exacerbating the emergency. It is also public that NGOs have purchased airline tickets for migrants through the use of FEMA funds. End quote. In addition to Save Our Allies co-founder Tim Kennedy testifying live on television to private aid flights being blocked by government bureaucracy.
What are you seeing from FEMA in the federal response, if any?
I mean, they're present. They're in the way. They are directly interrupting our ability to conduct missions and operations.
People in North Carolina and Tennessee spread word themselves that private helicopter pilots and drone owners were spotting desperate victims and rescuing them, but that in numerous instances the federal bureaucracy was blocking them. And after Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg tried to deny this, telling Musk no one is shutting down the airspace and the FAA doesn't block legitimate rescue and recovery flights, well, Buttigieg was resoundingly, appropriately called out for his arrogance. He who has the gall to claim he can define a legitimate rescue flight, and called out for his flip rhetorical fabrications. After all, as one ex-user told him, even as she posted the video evidence of Pothole Pete saying that the FAA was going to restrict airspace, she wrote, quote, "You made a whole video on shutting down drones, you lying POS," end quote. And more followed, including local news reporting on the federal oppression.
So there was no flight restriction when you went in?
No flight restriction when I went in. It went in place 20 or 30 minutes after the confrontation with Mr.
You feel like that was coincidental, or do you think that that was because of what happened?
I don't think it can be coincidental when there has not been one in place the day before doing rescue operations, the night of, the morning of, that took place after our altercation.
Indeed, 19 years after the fact, FEMA appears to have expanded on the cluster F malfeasance it exhibited during Hurricane Katrina. At that time, both New Orleans Mayor Nagin and the feds were cited for squandering billions of our tax cash, for blocking private aid being brought in by companies such as Walmart and more. As Chris Edwards wrote for the Cato Institute in 2015, the FEMA Katrina foul-ups cost lives and revealed the ever-present darkness, the utter falsity of so-called government aid. As he looked at the Katrina aftermath, he found, quote, FEMA repeatedly blocked the delivery of emergency supplies ordered by the Methodist Hospital in New Orleans from its out-of-state headquarters. FEMA turned away doctors volunteering their services at emergency facilities. Methodist Sister Hospital, Chalmette, for example, sent doctors to the emergency facilities set up at New Orleans Airport to offer their services, but they were turned away because their names were not in a government database. Private medical air transport companies played an important role in evacuations after Katrina, but FEMA officials provided no help in coordinating these services, and they actually blocked some of the flights, literally blocking our freedom to help others while it politicizes the very definition of the word disaster. The situation in the Helene storm zones is showing us all of this as each desperate hour passes. Thanks for watching, everyone. Please like and subscribe. Follow us on Rumble, where they don't censor us, and share the videos as often as you can. Find us, of course, on YouTube, where sometimes they do censor us, and all the time at MRCTV.org. While you're there, check out the store, and please consider donating to the Media Research Center. You can also find us on Facebook. You can find us inside TikTok and Instagram and on X. And, of course, if you want to follow me on Gab, I'm at Gardner Goldsmith on Gab, and I'm at Gard Goldsmith on Twitter/X. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please share the videos far and wide. For MRCTV, I'm Gardner Goldsmith.